please welcome actor and executive producer of Severance, Adam Scott.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you to Apple TV Plus for making this possible, and congratulations on the amazing reception for season 2, including the record-breaking number of Emmy nominations for drama show this year.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So now, this was a really big show in the history of Apple TV Plus because this became a really big water cooler breakout hit, and of course, anticipation for season 2 was very high. What was it like sort of going into this? Like, how far ahead were you thinking about where the story was going to be? Because you ended on this huge cliffhanger, and then you just go off in many different directions in this season. But what was in your heads when you were wrapping up season 1 and going to this season?
Well, our creator, Dan Erickson, kind of has the whole thing mapped out in his head. So we and he, namely, knew the general direction of where it was going to go. As far as really specifically mapping out the season, they were working on that for a while, and there was a period of time where we knew where the season was going to start and knew where it was going to end, and you'll see tonight where specifically it ends, where the season ends. But as far as the path exactly to get to the point of that big ending, that was something Dan and Ben and the writers were really kind of working and carving out for a while.
As an actor, it occurred to me when the first season hit, but it really became very prominent this season. You have your acting coworkers playing your coworkers on the show, and all of you are also playing essentially two different people. You're playing Mark squared, essentially. Yeah. So is there just a parallel between the premise of the show and being an actor, because you're kind of like having to keep this split in your head the whole time?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's interesting how between season 1 and 2, the show, we kind of like to think of it as the show sort of broadening its horizons a bit and expanding. But not only that, but all of the characters expanded as well. Suddenly we had twice as many characters for season 2 because we're going home with and meeting the outies of Helly and Dylan and Irving, as well as Mark in season 1. So yeah, it's always something to sort of keep straight in your head. I mean, the way I tried to think about it from the start when we first started was that it became important to Ben and to Dan and to me that it feel like one guy. It's the same guy. It's just different halves or sections of the same guy. So, because as an actor, when you get a role like this, it's a dream role, but you get a role where you're going to get to play, for lack of a better term, two different characters. Your first instinct is to I want one of them should have a limp or a distinctive hat and a mustache. But it became pretty clear that the differences are internal, and however that manifests physically, it just needs to start from an internal place. Because one of them is 40 some odd years of a very full life experience of joy and sorrow and all of the things that go into full life, and the other one is, for all intents and purposes, like 2.5 years old. So it was a matter of figuring out sort of the math problem of life experience in a way.
Well, one of the big differences this season with the character of Mark is that now outie Mark and inner Mark are, I don't know if love is the right term, but they have become emotionally attached to two different women. Obviously, he loved his wife, and now he has this new relationship with the innie Mark. So how did you keep that straight in your head? Did that affect how you played the two different Marks?
Yeah, the season starts out with innie and outie Mark being aligned as far as what they wanted. They were both, of a similar mind. They need to get Gemma out, and innie Mark was dedicated to making that happen. I think partially because the innies have a bit of there's a bit of idolatry towards their outies. It's almost like their outies are celebrities or something. There's just this kind of slightly unhealthy relationship with their outies because it's all they know. They know that that's the version of them that's out in the world. And so we find Mark at the beginning of the season, and he wants to get Gemma out. But as the season goes on, their interests diverge a bit, and it sort of sets them on this collision course. And so that's sort of where we find them here in the episode you're going to watch is where that collision course ends.
Yeah, what was your reaction when you first read the script for the finale? Because you have the two Marks sort of interacting in a way that we'd never seen before.
Yeah.
How did you, when you first read that, what was your response?
Yeah, I knew that scene was coming all season, and it was like this thing on the horizon that I just kept being like, oh, I don't have to worry about that for a while. I'll be fine. And it's like a dream come true for an actor. It's exactly the kind of scene everybody would want to do. But then when it's there in front of you, it's frightening, to say the least, because of the sheer challenge of it, right? But that ended up being what was so fun about it was the challenge, and that I had Ben Stiller there directing, so I could lean on him because I trust him, we trust each other, I trust his taste, and trust his eye. Everything. We've been working on the show for a while, and so there's this. When we go in and work on a scene, particularly a challenging scene, we know that we have each other's backs. Also, Dan Erickson writing a scene like that, it's incredibly delicate, and he was rewriting it right up to the last second. So it was really challenging. It was hard, but it was super fun. And then Ben and Jeff, our editor, did a great job with the scene as well.
Now, the look of this season is quite different as well. The fact that it opens up and it kind of disorients you when the season first starts. You're not exactly sure how much time has really passed and where these people really are. But the look is darker. It feels much more kind of surreal, much more dreamlike than the previous season. Did that have any effect on you as actors as well?
Well, I think, when I first got to the Severance set in October of 2020, I was working on the characters and really trying, when you're coming up on starting a project, it's almost like the puzzle pieces are kind of laying next to each other. And that when you put a puzzle piece in and it fits, it like gets in there, but there's something weird about it. And then you find the right one and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's sort of where I was. I was like, these things don't fit, but I think I know sort of where we're going. But then when I got there and saw the set, I kind of walked into that office set, and then things started falling into place. And the incredible set design and the incredible photography, all of that really dictates, for me, really kind of emotionally set the scene for the characters. So yeah, the look and the feel of it is a huge part for all of us.
I'd imagine having to just run up and down those corridors all the time.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's just while we were shooting the opening sequence of the show of me running ended up taking 7 months to shoot. We would just keep coming back to it and shooting more little bits and pieces of this running sequence. And I would always know that we were going to do more running when someone would come up to me and say, remind me, what color Gatorade is your favorite? And I would know that the next day we were going to be running. And I also needed to have bananas, because I'm not a runner, right? So you keep running, eventually your muscles seize and cramp. That's what happens. And you need to eat bananas for potassium, so your muscles. I didn't know any of this. So Gatorade and bananas next to a treadmill, and I'm hooked to a harness with green screen around me, and we just kept doing it and doing it. But that's a huge part of why I love working on the show so much, is that we do just keep running at it until we get it right. And I love it. I love the scene tonight with Innie Mark and Outie Mark together. You know, we had 3 days to shoot it, and I like doing things over and over and over again. And that's what we got to do. We got to just do, I just wanted Jeff, the editor, and Ben to have as many options as possible. So we just, for each line of dialogue, we just did it over and over again. So because it was a scene with one person, you couldn't exactly know how it was going to go because the other person wasn't there. So you needed to spread it out and give as many options as possible so it could piece together and feel like a real conversation. So it was really fun. Just got to just keep doing it over and over. I would keep doing takes. I sometimes have to be pulled out of the chair because it's so fun to just keep trying different things.
You, in your among your many background things you've done, you also did sketch comedy. Did that ever come in handy in doing scenes like that, where you sort of have to fragment something in your head and think how the end result is going to be like that?
Yeah, you know, I actually never really did sketch comedy.
Well, I mean, like you worked with sketch people, like on Party Down. You worked with
sure.
Amy Poehler. I mean, you worked with a lot of people who were involved in
Sure,
that. And you worked
yeah.
on there's a lot of improvisation rewriting on sitcoms that you've done.
For sure, yeah. Yes, I mean, I think that's the first real dive into comedy I had was Step Brothers, and it kind of revolutionized the way I thought about acting on camera and making movies and TV shows because I saw the way these guys were working, Adam McKay, Will Ferrell, and John C. Reilly, where they would do a scripted take or two and then just screw around and have fun and improvise and find the good bits in there or the things that worked, the really funny stuff, and use that. But they were just completely unafraid to of something not working or something being bad. Up until that point, I found myself being so rigid and careful because I wanted it to be good. But what I learned from these guys was, let's just do it a bunch. Just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, and then if it doesn't work, well, you don't have to use it. You use the parts that do work, and that's how you really find all the gold in there. And so that kind of, I just kind of reset the way I thought about it. And after working on that movie, I was like, I don't know if I ever want to go back. This is so fun. And I really just kind of loosened my grip on the bat a little bit, and then went to Party Down and Parks and Rec, and just had such an incredible time. And I think it really made me a lot better.
Since you brought up Step Brothers, I know Courtney is a fan and brought this up earlier. If you're a fan of Step Brothers, it's just a little trivia note, but the prop master who built the infamous bunk bed for that, but he and his wife had a huge medical crisis during the pandemic that we helped him out with, but they were at one of our most recent KTLA telethons. But his story is amazing. It's on YouTube if you want to look it up.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
He built that bunk bed that collapses in the movie.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable work.
So it's just what an industry this is. You don't think about how many people make the magic happen.
I know.
So now, when you first got onto Severance, like I said, you were kind of known for being on sitcoms, for, Parks and Rec,
Sure.
Party Down, your recurring role in The Good Place, and by the way, you play a great stinker.
Thanks.
You haven't done it too often, but you're very good at it. But when you got into Severance, how did that affect you, the reception that it got? Because this was kind of a gear shift in the way people saw you as an actor.
Yeah, it was, first of all, it was a huge relief that people responded to it, because you just never know how something is going to land out there, or if people will even discover it. A lot of stuff, really great stuff, comes out, and there's so much television, so many shows, that a lot of stuff just kind of slips by unnoticed, particularly if something's weird and off-center. You just never know. And I'd been working since '93, so it was like 30 years, and I'd always dreamed of having a role like this, being in a show like this. And so you think that your dream is to be at in a show like this and be on a billboard. But when that happened in the January of 2022, and the billboards went up and it was my face, I had the opposite reaction that I always thought I would have, and I freaked out. Because we didn't know how people were gonna react to the show, if anyone would embrace it. As soon as I saw my face up there, I was like, people are just gonna make fun of me. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And so I remember I called Ben and was like, I don't know what's going on, but this is really freaking me out. And he's had his face up on a lot of billboards and kind of just really walked me through the fact that all you can do is do the best work you can. Everything else is sort of beyond our control. We just make the thing as good as we can make it. And we felt great about it. We loved it, but didn't know how it was going to land. So the fact that fans really found it and critics were receptive to it was a huge relief, and it felt great, to put it mildly.
Yeah. And very well deserved. Well, it makes it even more interesting that the key image that we all have from season 2 is the image of you running across, right? Which
That's right.
I'm sure people now think you should take over Mission Impossible, because not only that, but you're running through the entire opening credits as well.
That's right. That's right.
In general, did anything happen during the second season, either you just as an actor or among the ensemble, that surprised you? Like, was there anything that sort of caught you off guard in a positive way that you'd never thought of before?
Episode 4 of the show takes place out in the wilderness, and we shot it up in upstate New York. And so we were out there in the snow for about 6 weeks, and we were driven up to a certain point at the base of the mountain, and we got on these snowcats, and that would take us up to the top of the mountain every morning. And then there was this camp where we just had a bunch of tents where you would go into a tent that had a heater in it to get warm and then go shoot your scenes. It was wild, and it was so much fun. And we were all out there together. We'd have to hike to get to one scene or another, depending on where we were shooting from our base. You would have to take these hikes to get to where we were shooting, and it was exhausting, and it was cold, and it was fantastic. We all just had a great time, and when you're in a situation like that, and you're making a show like this, part of what I love about doing this is just knowing how fortunate I am. By the time I got to Parks and Rec and Party Down and stuff, the things that kind of solidified a career for me, I had been at it for about 15 years, so I knew then not to take it for granted. And I'm so glad that I had a little blood under the bridge by the time things started coalescing a bit, so I can look back fondly on it and remember everything about it, because I knew at the time, I better remember this because this is incredible. And I feel the same about Severance. It's another one that I just can't believe my luck. I'm falling into this great situation, this great project with these great people.
Well, I know that I speak for all of us when I say I can't wait to find out what happens in season 3.
Yeah.
I know you probably got it all mapped out. It's in your head somewhere. You know what's coming up, but for the time being. But congratulations again on just the amazing reception,
Thank
and good luck at the Emmys. I mean, we're all just so very happy that it's
Thank you.
that it's such a beloved show.
Thanks.